It appears that a major turning point has been reached and global elites are being summoned to Antarctica to meet a delegation of extraterrestrial races and Earth Alliance leaders to negotiate the terms of their surrender. Antarctica was chosen for the meeting because it contains a portal that can transport global elites to a distant world in another galaxy where they will be well provisioned but forever banished.
You are listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla, your source for the uncensored truth regarding the human, extraterrestrial, social, global, and political agenda. Click the like button and subscribe to this channel. Visit exopolitics.org and sign up to receive our email notifications, news, and information. Be informed and be aware with Exopolitics Today. And now, here's Dr. Michael Salla.
Cabal leaders go to Antarctica to surrender to benevolent extraterrestrials and the Earth Alliance. News has recently emerged of global elites, aka the Cabal, going to Antarctica for a secret meeting. We know from public tweets that Klaus Schwab, founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, and Christine Lagarde, president of the European Central Bank, attended a secret Antarctica meeting. Two others present were Brad Garlinghouse and David Schwartz, respectively the president and chief technical officer of Ripple Labs, a computer software company specializing in online payment systems. The four tweets by the above elites, which began with Lagarde tweeting back in July 2021 that she was going to attend a meeting in Antarctica, has generated much speculation. To learn more about the Antarctica meetings, I contacted Elena Danan to find out if her off-planet sources could supply answers to what was really happening in Antarctica. Elena received answers from Thorhan Eredjian, a commander with the Galactic Federation of Worlds, and Una from the Intergalactic Confederation, also known as the Guardians. The answers were stunning. It appears that a major turning point has been reached and global elites are being summoned to Antarctica to meet a delegation of extraterrestrial races and Earth Alliance leaders to negotiate the terms of their surrender. Antarctica was chosen for the meeting because it contains a portal that can transport global elites to a distant world in another galaxy where they will be well provisioned but forever banished. Prior to leaving for the new world, however, they have to first help the transition of the global financial system and to undo much of the black magic that has been cast to keep humanity and the earth itself in bondage. Here is the first message Elena received from Thorhan on December 14 about what transpired at the Antarctica meeting. Thorhan, by the decision of the High Council of the Galactic Federation of Worlds, following the recent agreements set on Jupiter between the Earth Space Alliance and the Galactic Federation of Worlds, the Council of Five and the Zenitaian Alliance, the Terran elites under enemy leadership complied to meet on the southern continent with our representatives in order to hand over to the Earth Alliance their powers upon the global financial system. This ancient system is to be replaced by the new system that is to be put in place by the Earth Alliance. They are being offered in exchange a life off-world with all commodities. Elena, why are they not just judged for their misdeeds and sentenced accordingly? Thorhan, they can only unwind the dark web they created, for they cast into the foundations of your societies the anchors of great immorality. It was decided with the Terran high hierarchy of the Earth Alliance that no greater chaos would unfold from these transfers of power, as an economic collapse would add even more suffering to these challenging times for the Terran people, already greatly wounded. The Galactic Federation of Worlds and the Earth Alliance are making sure that this transition will cause the least damage as possible. Elena, Does this concern only changes in the financial system? Thorhan. Industrial domains are interdependent with the financial system. Be prepared to witness surprising changes in the matter of new energy systems and the rolling out of technologies in many sectors. Elena, why were you on Jupiter these last days? And just back on the very same day when these meetings in Antarctica are leaked. Thorhan, I told you there were meetings on Jupiter. The dark elites weren't there. They would not be tolerated in the Shari facility of the Ashtar Galactic Command. The Dark Ones met on Antarctica's land with our envoys. The latest meetings on Jupiter were about those I just mentioned, with the leadership of the Earth Alliance only. These meetings were completed today, Terran time. This is the statement I can give to you, with my superior's blessings. Did Una contact you? Elena, yes she did. Thorhan, then she knows more details than I do, at least for now. I shall speak to you again in the coming hours. You can, of course, tell Dr. Michael and give him my fond salutations. Elena, I surely will. Thank you, Thorhan. Thorhan's message gives us a clear idea of what really transpired in Antarctica. The global elites summoned there met with a delegation of leaders from different extraterrestrial organizations and the Earth Alliance that participated in the Jupiter Accords signed in July 2021. The elites were required to come up with a plan for a smooth economic transition to a more equitable monetary system and prevent a global financial collapse. This is supported by the tweets by the two senior officials from Ripple Labs, Schwartz and Garlinghouse. Their presence and expertise signaled that what was being negotiated in Antarctica involved a new online payment system. Could this be linked to a quantum financial system that has been a topic of much speculation? According to one source, Nigel Madday, the coming quantum financial system would be linked to a quantum internet that will be created through the Starlink satellite system being created by Elon Musk's SpaceX. Schwartz and Garlinghouse would have the necessary expertise to help plans for a smooth transition from the current global financial system to a quantum financial system linked to quantum cloud computing. Thorhan pointed out that the implications for multiple industries will be enormous, starting with the energy sector. Indeed, abandoning fossil fuels is the key to unleashing a multitude of alternative energy technologies that have been suppressed since the early 1900s. Similarly, many other suppressed technologies, such as electromagnetic and holographic healing modalities, will be also released, thereby replacing the soon-to-be discredited pharmaceutical industry as a result of national populations rebelling against mandatory vax policies and big pharma support for these. It's worth keeping in mind that there are currently over 5,800 patents that are suppressed in the US alone due to national security orders imposed by the intelligence community. The bulk of these suppressed patents involve alternative energy and healing technologies. When in January 2017, President Donald Trump issued a top-secret memorandum for the release of 1,000 of these patents over the next 2 years, he was ignored by the intelligence community, and his administration subsequently targeted. Interestingly, the Cabal was not allowed to travel to the headquarters of the Ashtar Galactic Command, where the Jupiter Accords were first negotiated between 14 spacefaring nations led by the US with representatives of the galactic community. This is a big indicator of how the situation in our solar system has dramatically changed with the expulsion of the Sakaar Draconian Empire and Orion Grey collective forces, and Earth's Cabal being isolated from their former patrons. After his first response, Thorhan sent additional information to Elena about the meetings he was attending on Jupiter. Thorhan, another aspect of my presence on Jupiter was to discuss this phenomenon which very recently occurred in the vicinity of your star system, a collapse of the third density continuum. This occurs in pockets in the fabric of space, and your star system is entering one of these on its trajectory through this arm of the galaxy. More third density collapsing will occur as a bridge to the fifth density. The enemy and the Dark Ones know about it. They knew it was happening, and it is one of the reasons why they knew for a long time that they had lost this star system. I will tell you more later." End quote. Thorhan's message corroborates that our solar system has entered a region of space which possesses a galactic anomaly that greatly impacts third density space. In 2014, scientists confirmed that our solar system was about to enter a large interstellar cloud called the local fluff, which is approximately 30 light years wide and held together by a very large magnetic field. According to various researchers, this interstellar cloud was first observed back in 1961 around the Pleiades constellation and called a photon belt, due to the white halo it projected. One of the photon belt advocates was Noel Huntley, PhD, who wrote an article in 2010 titled "The Photon Belt Encounter," where he described its existence and great interest to extraterrestrials. Quote, "What this electromagnetic cloud, this golden nebula, sometimes referred to as the radiant nebula by ETs. Its more universal designation is photon belt or photon band, consisting of many bands, and any encounter with this belt is recognized by extraterrestrials as of great import." End quote. According to Thorhan's information, Dr. Huntley was correct, and the region of space we have entered will accelerate consciousness from a materialistic third density existence to a fifth density existence. According to the law of one material, fifth density is perhaps best described as extremely white in vibration. Therefore, the photon belt is not an inaccurate description of this fifth density region, despite what many critics have to say about the term. If humanity's collective consciousness was not sufficiently developed to accommodate fifth density frequencies, it would implode in a self-induced global calamity. If humanity's consciousness evolved, however, a golden age of wisdom, love and peace would begin. Thorhan is making clear that the global elites understood that the battle for Earth had been lost, and they wanted no part of what was coming. Hence their willingness to cooperate in the transition to a new Earth in order to be able to use the Antarctica portal to leave forever to another planet. In a second follow-up message sent on December 14, Thorhan communicated with Elena and shared more information about this photon belt and how the Jupiter Accords gave the global elite 5 months to surrender to the Earth Alliance. Thorhan said, "I'm going to talk about this natural phenomenon occurring in the vicinity of your star system. This is not an isolated phenomenon, as your star system moves throughout the grid of this galaxy, composed of fluctuating waves of frequencies. You encounter pockets of higher vibrational density of matter. What does it mean? The physical laws binding the atoms together oscillate at a faster rate. It is not about time, do you understand? The time rate doesn't change, only the perception you have of it, because your rate changes. It is not about time, but only about the physicality of the fabric of space that shifts. As the universal laws of physics function, it happens that this phenomenon occurs progressively unless the pocket of higher density is as big or bigger than the said star system. The limit of a density zone is not sharp but fuzzy. You enter into it progressively by encountering bubbles until you completely merge into the new area. Elena, what happens when Earth will cross through one of these higher density zones or bubbles? Thorhan, nothing near a dramatic event such as many Terrans imagine with fear could happen. It manifests as a change in consciousness as the perceptions, mental and physical, shift into a higher range. Physical symptoms can occur. Those who have prepared their mind openly follow the wave, but for those who are not ready and resist it, it translates for them by physical and mental suffering. The vision changes, the perceptions change, especially the perception of linear time that is perceived as faster. But you know, this process, entering through this new area in Nataru, the Milky Way, is inevitable. So Terrans need to truly let go of any resistance, such as the greatest, that is fear." End quote. Thorhan has here confirmed that our solar system's movement into the photon belt is not something that heralds physical destruction, but instead signals a speeding up of consciousness. Those individuals sufficiently prepared emotionally and mentally will be able to surf the coming galactic waves and manifest a new reality. The proverbial kingdom of heaven on earth. Those that are not prepared will do the opposite and experience more great stress and turmoil in their personal and collective lives. Thorhan continued his second follow-up message as follows. "Elena, going back to Antarctica, what else can you tell me? I don't like these guys. They are the embodiment of evil. They have caused so much suffering." Thorhan, "They won't anymore. When the Jupiter agreements took place, they received a warning that we would meet in 5 months and they would have to prepare to surrender. So they knew this, and that is why they are pushing all their agendas at once with despair. But your people is starting to see that." Elena, "Wait? Why give them 5 months?" Thorhan, "For the transition. This meeting is a turning point for them, and for you. If we had suppressed them all at once, the financial and economical systems on Terra would have imploded in a terrible chaos. There are better ways. They are summoned to transfer to the Alliance their keys and tools in order to make the transition as smooth as possible for the population. Something else that is worth mentioning is that they have been taught dark etherical arts and the spells need to be undone. This will undo their power. It is powerless that they will leave this world, because they will leave. You know, when I mentioned transition, I meant to say that Terrans need to see the faces of their enemy in order to open their consciousness to the truth. However painful this process is, it is necessary. Elena, it reminds me what the Nine told me recently, that every sentient being has a role to play in the games of the evolution of the universe. Thorhan, that is correct. You know, when I stayed in the Himalayan base 4 years ago, I witnessed great plans being prepared for the awakening of the Terrans. The Time War was the main concern. Imagine a time war like a multi-layered chessboard. There is no better way to describe it to you." End quote. Thorhan's reference to the global elite's use of the dark etherical arts and the spells is very significant. He is referring to a little understood aspect of the global elite's control system, which is the use of black magic to undergird all their activities. Thorhan is confirming here what several researchers have revealed in the past. The Cabal routinely uses black magic as part of their global control system. A good example is how the National Aeronautics and Space Administration routinely used magical symbols for the public space program, as documented by Richard Hoagland and Mike Barra in their best-selling 2009 book, Dark Mission, The Secret History of NASA. What we also learned from President Vladimir Putin and a military intelligence group associated with a movement linked to the 17th letter of the alphabet was that the global elite are practicing Satanists who conjure up the power of demonic and other negative entities to subjugate humanity and the spirit of the planet. In this regard, what Putin effectively said in his 2013 State of the Nation address was, "The New World Order worships Satan." These dark magic ceremonies are routinely held at different energy vortexes or sacred sites around the planet, as revealed by many occult researchers such as Fritz Springmeier in his book series Bloodlines of the Illuminati. More recently, Brad Olson, a highly competent researcher and author, also revealed many of these black magic Satanist practices in his book series Beyond Esoteric. Quote, "There is a complete control over the human race, and to think that black magic could be used to control the masses is disturbing. The occult is employed in a new kind of fascism today, among some of the elite globalists who completely control almost every aspect of our lives, from health and finance to politics and education. Research indicates that occult ceremonies and rituals at the upper levels go far beyond what anyone can imagine. Why is it so hard to believe that occult practices are a real tool for control?" End quote. Importantly, Thorhan pointed out the explicit connection between the Jupiter Accords signed in July and the Antarctica meetings held 5 months later. A provision of the Accords was the surrender of the global elite by December 2021. This timeline is corroborated by Christine Lagarde's July tweet that meetings were to be held in Antarctica in December. Her tweet is compelling evidence that the cabal had indeed been given 5 months to prepare to hand over their power without collapsing the world financial system as a condition for their leaving Earth through the Antarctica intergalactic portal. This negotiated surrender and departure of the cabal signals an incredible new time lies ahead as the world transitions to new financial, political, health and energy systems that will revolutionize life. The message from Una, one of the Guardians, provides yet more details into the incredible planetary transitions we are soon about to witness. I will analyse her message in part 2 of this series. I wish to thank Elena Danan for permission to publicly release Thorhan's messages. This has been Dr. Michael Sala with Exopolitics Today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my Exopolitics Today podcast, available on your favourite platforms as well as YouTube and Rumble.